Okay. Thank you so much, my dear, for this patient watch. Uh, it took me a lot of time setting up, but I am so excited to be here. Just allow me a moment to check the settings once again, and then I'll be back with you. Setting up, but I am so excited to be here. Just allow me. Okay, so everything is working fine. So here I am with you guys. And what are we here for? Well, no prizes for guessing. We are here for the monthly tarot forecast for the full moon that happens to be November 5th, right? So, now this tarot forecast session, as you all know, as those who would be, kind of following me or kind of watching up my videos and whatever little content that I share, would know that it is how I, create these forecasts as not one card draw and yes and no reading and quick insights, but it is structured uh, spontaneously, organically, with the kind of little understanding, if I may say so, that I've drawn over the years of having read for myriad of people out there. As in my capacity as a professional online and offline tarot reader, and I consider myself as tarot advisor, not so much so as a reader, because there is so much to learn, and I consider myself an eternal seeker. But never mind. Before just to kind of, so just to give you a brief idea, if this is your first outing here on Chandra, aka Telltale Tarot, first and foremost, thank you with folded hands. I welcome all of you, new, old, everyone alike. I won't say old here because even myself on YouTube has just been, a 4 months old journey, and I'm enjoying every single day of it, if I may say so. You can have a, you can, the content that I create, it kinds of be a testimony to the fact that I really enjoy what I do, and in that sense, I consider myself very fortunate and blessed. So, yes, so on that note, just to set the preface and the premise here, correct, is that we are here to do the tarot forecast for this this full moon, which happens to be on November 5th. And just to give you a broad idea as to what this full moon is all about, as I always do, because much of the session will be devoted to the tarot forecast. And today I'm very excited to be here with you guys because we would not be forecasting per se, because as I built in a little trivia with regards to whosoever out there are curious to step into the world of tarot, or who have already stepped into the world of tarot and testing waters here and there. And even if you're an expert, my due respects to you. The thing is that I'm going to share some very significant ways, tools, approaches, if I may say so, to be able to get to know tarot better, get to read tarot better, for not only for yourself but as well as for others. So again, my reference point and book is the works of Mary K. Greer. Again, she's a tarot legend and a living tarot master, and I've had the good fortune to be in touch with her. I, had a brief correspondence with her here and there, and I'm so proud, and I wear it as a badge of honor that she does follow me on my social media. So, there is nothing that makes me more elated than to have that validation coming from her. So this is of course a stuff which dreams and legends are made of. So I have her blessing, so to speak, as I go slowly but steadily, half an inch here and a half an inch there on my tarot learning, embracing, embarking, imbibing journey as a fellow seeker, as you are there out there. So yes, so what I'm trying to convey is that not only we would forecast, but I would share with you the first two steps, which will enable you, allow you, help you deepen your understanding of tarot, as well as allow you to kind of fine tune, polish, and better your skills for reading tarot. Again, either if you're learning it for yourself and you're using it as a tool for self awareness, not as fortune telling, that is not a, that is a no go zone as far as I'm concerned as your tarot reader, because this is tarot is much more, in terms of sanctity and gravity. But yes, so one is that whether you're reading for yourself or if you are pitching yourself to be, you're already reading for others, Godspeed your goals. My prayers are to you, and may you go from strength to strength. But at the cornerstone of it, at the very foundation of it, be it the love of tarot for you that must rise and shine bright and see you through all the darkest and the deepest alleys that one goes through when they embark on such a journey. So yes, so this is a sense the nuggets that we would kind of talk and share and brainstorm. Uh, if I get to have your, I've set up another device in which I am hoping to see your questions that you want me to answer, and I'll be more than delighted and willing to be able to do that. Yes, but for now, what we will do is that we will first just give you a brief background as to what the planetary arrangements are and how this is significant. See, in terms of the timing, again, you would say that every time Chandra comes in and say that this is the most, auspicious tidings and timings, but then this is something that one cannot emphasize, reiterate, and repeat enough, because full moon and the new moon, both, of course, I choose to do my lunar forecast once a month, and that I choose the full moon to be able to do that, to be able to get to know each other, hand hold with you, and to kind of walk the path together. But yes, the full moon and the new moon, they are two very significant dates in the calendar, in the monthly calendars, which kind of allow us opportunities for us to be able to fine tune with our inner alignment, intuition, so as to speak. In the realm of tarot, it is all about intuition, inner guidance, and inner wisdom, right? So yes, so they are beautiful opportunities for you, and that is the reason why, that whether you believe in any spirituality, Vedic system, Western astrology, anything and everything, it is important for you, just you can throw those myths and misconceptions out of the window and just kind of use it as an opportunity, a stepping stone of sorts, to be able to kind of press pause. Otherwise, we get so busy with the daily lives and the humdrum of affairs, and the cacophony of it is that we lose sight, we lose track of our inner selves, right? So the lunar full moon and the new moon are auspicious timings and tidings for each one of us, for each one of us, whether we are on a spiritual path or whether we are kind of, just going about our activities on a day to day manner. This is some sort of, as I always give an example, is sort of a charging of batteries. So we are able to, kind of really create that space, sanctified space, because it is like respecting your own inner wisdom, the Buddha within all of us, the intuition, the intuitive self, the wiser self, which is not, which is omnipresent, which is not gone anywhere, which is not lost anywhere. It's just that it is kind of buried deep down somewhere, uh, at times at times within layers and layers of, those theoretical understanding, which is kind of, or intellectual understanding and pursuits, material pursuits, and we are not able to kind of, get in touch with the wiser selves, right? So yeah, so in that sense, the timing is important, the full moon and the new moon. And why? Yes, so basically, we are in the last quarter of the year, and in fact, it is just, we are sitting in a November, so we just have a month and a half to go before the year folds up, right? And as we always say, that it is always a nice feeling to end something on a bright note, on a winning note, right? And winning and failing is, of course, a very relative term, but at the end of the day, it helps for us to be answerable to our own selves, and say an affirmation that I did my best, right? And go back and sleep easy, that saying that you did your best, and not with that false sense of hope, but with this optimism, which is based on confidence, courage, clarity, and conviction, as I would always say. And these alignments allow us to be able to do that. It kind of it kind of accelerates our journey. So yes, November 5th, the new moon, sorry, my apologies, the full moon is in the the zodiac sign of Taurus, right? And we all know that we are sitting in the month of Scorpio, so the sun is in Scorpio, shining nice and bright, and the full moon happens to be in the zodiac of Taurus. Now, this is very interesting a combination in the backdrop of the Jupiter. I would not go at length into the Western and the Vedic connotations of the planetary alignment, but just to give you a brief preface so that we have, because we will revisit them as we draw out the tarot insights. That the Jupiter being in Cancer, and it has moved to Cancer around mid October, and it is going to stay there until November 11th. Please do check on the dates. I'm just giving you a rough idea, because again, the tarot is not so much so about these alignment, but more so about circumstantial and intellectual and emotional landscaping and energies. So yeah, that's another different realm. But then, nevertheless, the insights are important in this. A preface and premise is that with Jupiter being in Cancer, it stays here till November 11th, and then it goes retrograde, I believe, till the end of until mid December. So, what is happening here is that, see, the full moon being in Taurus, and we all know, by way of, I hope you have had a chance to visit my tarot archetypal series, because for the tarot, we have the tarot archetype, which is the Hierophant. So, are we all familiar with this card, the tarot archetype, the Hierophant for the Taurus? Because this stands for all things which are value based, traditional, honoring institutions or honoring our belief systems. And Taurus, as we all know, the sign that it is kindly, it's an earthly sign. Yeah, Taurus is an earthly sign, and Taurus is something that celebrates foundation structures, again, values and belief systems. Also, it is grounded in energy which is more so about early desires, materialistic pursuits, sensory perceptions. So everything which is pragmatic, practical, grounded is being highlighted with the full moon shining bright and nice in the zodiac Taurus, right? Now, uh, on the other spectrum of it, because it's a full moon, we know that the sun is in the sign of the Scorpio, right? That is how we have the this month for the Scorpios. And here for the Scorpios, which is the tarot archetype, if you have done the tarot archetypal series, I would request you to gently request you to go back and revisit this. Therein lies the moon. Now, the moon, as well as the Scorpio, the sign Scorpio, is all about what? It is about intuition. It is about perception, deceptions. It is about your inner secrets. It is about transformation. It is also about inner journeys, revelations. It is about, I would say that it is more about the karmic essence of it. So, do you see the contrast here, that this is more on the face, this is more on the inside. This is more to do with your wisdom, your theoretical understanding, intellect, and this is to do with your intuition, right? So this is a wonderful combination if one is willing to draw in some awareness to be able to make both of these two worlds. Because with this super moon, and again, we had read for the super moon earlier on also, last month also, and this is still become is remains a supermoon because it is closer to the earth. That is why it appears bigger in size. So, do we understand the connotation that we have the full moon happening in uh, the zodiac of Taurus, and we have the sun, which is in the zodiac of the Scorpio. So this is the two archetypal energies that we have, which will be broadly aspecting on the tarot forecast for all the zodiacs, right? So we are, or whatever we are going to read between these two prisms, right? One is the earthly energies of Taurus, and the other is the intuitive energies of the moon. So, are we okay with this? And yes, the guest of honor, if I may say so, the surprise element or the kind of X factor, I think that is the word I was looking at, is the Jupiter. Our dear friend Jupiter, which is as a planet is exalted in Cancer. Why I'm saying exalted in Cancer? It rejoices being in Cancer. The energies are aligned when it is in Cancer. It loves Cancerian spaces, and that is why it kind of magnifies both the end of the spectrum. So it depends upon which side of the spectrum or which side of the coin you're willing to tilt and shift, because the Jupiter is going to do you a lot more good than harm, right? But the only promise in the deal here for you to make is to be able to bring in that sense of an alignment. And what better day and time it is but the full moon on November 5th. So when I say November 5th, it is not only to do with tomorrow per se, but yes, the days leading up to the the full moon, and the days, a couple of days after the full moon, are of course, potent with energies. And trust you me, forget about these technicalities that, oh God, I missed the window and now the moon is like kind of being weaning and waxing and stuff like that. See, any day is a good day to begin, right? So just throw the rule book out of the window, and just make sure that whatever day and time or a window that you get to be able to make use of these tools, uh, you allow yourself, to kind of press pause and sit with your own self. And I keep on sharing these little rituals. When I say rituals, again, there is no superstition in there, but it is more so for you an opportunity for you to kind of align yourself with the inner realm, right? So that is the broader idea that I wish to share with you. And now we can deep dive in the tarot forecast for this full moon. So what we are going to do here again is that, because this is something that works well and has been working well with the kind of feedback that I've got from you guys, is that I will again break it down into four elements. And by now you know what the four elements are. The four elements are air, water, earth, and which is another one: air, water, earth, fire. My bad. All right, we have this fire. I burn this fire so that it becomes a testimony to whatever we are sharing, because fire is one important element, that needs to be respected, honored, and kind of vouched for when we do these kind of spiritualistic pursuits. Because there is something which is very, I feel, say, there's something very calm about, this flame of a burning candle or a diya, because it kind of stills the noise within. It helps you ground and it kind of illuminates your path. At the same time, it allows you to burn and release all the negative energies which may have clouded your aura, right? So, and help you channelize your Buddha, in its all luminescence and glory. Okay, so I hope that is not too poetic and heavy for you, but my bad. This is how I sound, and this is how I kind of talk when I get with the flow. So my apologies here. I hope you will bear with me. So, all right. So, again, now with this premise and preface out of the way, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to pull four tarot cards, for each of these elements. I have done a very short YouTube shorts, a short YouTube shorts. This is an interesting way to say it, in which I have given you a sort of an assignment, which I do not know how many of you have looked, but then assignment is as much for you as much for me, in terms of the four signs being broken down and given a little again, assignment is the word that I'm looking at, for you to be able to do in order to align yourself with these full moon energies. Now again, anything and everything that I'm offering here is but an honest suggestion, a recommendation that you may try out. And you can always tell me, look, Chandra, what rubbish it was. It did not work for me, and I will understand, right? So it's not to say that I am coming from a place of some, I'm on a pedestal of some sorts. I've got a halo around your head. No, not in donkey ears. But what I'm trying to say is that these are lived experiences. These are tools which I have used experientially in my own journey and continue to do so. And thereby, as your friendly neighborhood tarot advisor, as I say all the time, and your trusted agony aunt, I just share with you as a friend what I have, made use of, and by way of my lived experiential experiences, share with you, so that you also able to make most of these tools, right? So you can please go and check on that. YouTube shorts, as a feeler. The other, I would recommend you to go and check on the tarot archetype and specifically have a look at uh, the the uh, the the moon archetypal series, which is we did for the Scorpio, and the other was the tarot archetypal series for the Taurus, which is the Hierophant, right? So that we understand the full spectrum and the gamut of it in the which serves as a background and a backdrop to this uh, full moon tarot forecast, the monthly tarot forecast that we are about to do. So the first element, here are the cards, and the first element that we draw the card is to honor the energies of the moon. You know, we do it for the sign of the water signs, right? So when I say the water signs again, what are the water signs? The water sign are the Scorpio and the Pisces and the Cancer, right? So here goes. Wonderful. Okay, so you see the tarot here that we draw for the water signs, the Scorpio, the Cancer, and the Pisces is the Chariot, the beautiful archetype chariot, which happens to be the archetype. No, my bad. I don't think so. We did the no. I think we did the chariot for some archetype, but never mind. And not to confuse you, this is the chariot. Now again, because I've drawn this card, and my endeavor is for you to be able to get to know tarot. How do you understand tarot, right? So I will just take 2 minutes, maybe a couple of minutes, because I tend to go on and on with and stay on with this card and the imagery and say, how do you, as a layman who know nothing about tarot, we are starting from the scratch here. So basically we draw a card like a chariot. Now what is it, how, even if you don't know a thing about chariot and if you're drawing this for the first time, so the first step that you do my apologies. So first step, what you do in getting to understand the tarot, and we just be focusing on these two, the first two aspects. Before we, with every tutorial, I build in and introduce. With every content that I create, I'll try and add more and more to it. But for today, we'll just stick to these first two. So, like we have pulled out the chariot for the water signs as a monthly tarot forecast. So the first thing that you do, you look at the card, have a close look. Now I'm holding it close to the camera so that you have a look here, a close look here. Now, the first thing that you do is that name the card, right? I know it may sound pretty dumb and no brainer, but this is how it is. What is it that you do when you meet a person for the first time? You get to know their names, right? That is how you get to know them. Is that not true? When was the last time you walked into a room and you wanted to talk to a stranger? You would not say, "Hey, idhar aao," "Are, oh bhai sahab," not like that, right? You have to name them. You have to have a name, right, to be able to begin that conversation. So the first very basic, very specific uh, way to get to know tarot, to get to understand tarot, to get to understand the insights of the tarot, to be able to uh, begin to read these beautiful symbolism, is to name the card. Now when I say name the card, I know that thing sounds very dud and very very basic, but naming the card, again, to give you an example here, because this is the card that I'm holding for you. So what would I say to myself when so it's not that naming the card in your mind, that is something that we do all the time. Okay, fine, I pick up a card and I put it here. Okay, so okay. Hmm. Okay, so I'm saying the chariot in my mind, right? Especially when no one is listening. Like right now, I'm recording. Of course, I'm reading out for you. But many a times, even when you're reading for others, you would not name the card. So I really cannot emphasize, and trust you me, this is something that I've started doing off recently, because somewhere in between I have kind of, even though I knew about it, but I have not been practicing it. And of lately, I've picked up the book again, going back to my legend, Mary Kay Greer, and the books that she had written. I've read it once right in the beginning, and then somewhere in between, I'd lost track of these fundamentals. And now I'm kind of reviving and rekindling my passion for reading by way of revisiting, those important tips and trivias, that actually becomes a cornerstone and foundation of your reading, right? So enough of me. So again, going back to the whole thing. So what I would do is that, okay, I'll pull up a card and I'll say the chariot. The chariot. What is the name of this card? It is the Chariot that I have drawn. What card have you drawn? I have drawn the Chariot. What is written as the name of the card? The Chariot. So you name the card. What number is it? 7. I have drawn the card number 7. It is the Chariot. So you understand, you're getting the hang of it. So just say the name of the card and just be with the name of the card, the Chariot. Now, when I say the Chariot is not something which sits easy on the tongue, right? Which is all right, because the energies around this card, see, this will allow you to get in touch with your intuitive self. The Chariot is something which is like heavy duty ना, जैसे किसी ने कुछ आई वुड से कि एक कोई एक हेवीनेस है इस कार्ड में, एक इजी ब्रीजी नहीं है ये, सो the moment you name the card, the Chariot, again, excuse me to those ones who must be thinking that I've gone a little weird, but this is the way to do it. So when you say the name aloud many a times, I have pulled out the card which is number 7, which is the Chariot. The Chariot is in the card which I have pulled out. It is the number 7 card of the major arcana, So you can say in any combination you can say, but you have to keep saying that name again and again, again and again. So that is the number 1. We'll do it with the other 3 cards also. So now you got a gist of it. So my saying of this card and your saying of this card name will be different, and the kind of emotions and the kind of connotations and the notions that it kind of they start taking shape in your subconscious. You will be kind of surprised. So you say the name of the card and you write what you have felt. Like I've just shared, for me, when I say the word Chariot, it does not come easy, it does not sit easy on my tongue. There is a heaviness to it, there is a heavy duty energy to it. Means kuch sluggish hai, kuch ruka hua hai aur phir chalta hai, and that is the kind of, so don't let's so the next thing that we go on to, even though we would like to go on to the next step right in the beginning, but no, after you have named the person, then you start describing the person. So the first thing when you do is that when you come and meet a stranger, then you name them, right? They would name you and you would name them. And then the second thing, what comes into play is the description, how they appear, how they look. It's not about how they feel. Please understand, please remember, that is on a different level. The second and the most important aspect, and that is why I'm just introducing the two elements to it, is the name and the description. The description is describe it as you see it. So, what do we see here? This is the chariot in which I see a man which is sitting on a chariot like thing. Of course, it's not the chariot that you and I would know of. Of course, it has that. The, see, we will become to the kind of background that we share, in the Vedic connotation and the Vedic, references. I think the first time I picked up the chariot, and even when I do it right now, it reminds me of that imagery of Krishna and Arjun in that, that shaped by our perceptions and beliefs of the Ramanan Sagar, Mahabharata, or Ramayana, whatever it was Mahabharata, of course, Krishna and Arjun connotation, or Amar Chitra Katha that I read as growing up. So that is the kind of connotations, gives a connotation of a warrior who is sitting on this chariot with phoenixes, one black and one white. And then, it seems that it's a forward momentum right now. So this is the person who is sitting there, and look at, describe the clothes. What kind of clothes are they? Which I said that there's a heavy connotation to it because they are not sitting in lounge wear. Now you can see the clothes, right? There's a very heavy armor he's wearing. Their soldier like clothes are there. Then there are ornamentation. There is, I believe, the crown also which is there. Then it has a certain starry this thing. So describe in as much detail as possible. See, I'm not going to go there and do it this for you, but describe each and every element that you see, right from the color in the background to these castles which are there with red rooftops. The phoenixes, one black, one white. The ground, the color of the armor, which is like green in color, which depicts royalty. The stars which depict intuition, the symbolism of it all, right? So these are the things that you really need to make a good note of it. And when describing it, you must be actually be able to go on and describe it. If you're doing it verbally, at least for 2 minutes, and if you're writing it down, at least for 5 minutes. And trust you me, if you're using the rider weight, and that has always been my suggestion to all of you, is that when you are as a beginner, or for that matter, even if you are kind of know a lot about it, I think rider weight has always been my go back to kind of deck, because this is something which gives you a rich imagery, at least something to talk about, because many of the modern decks and quantity and the the modern decks and the other cards that I've seen and come across, not that I'm using because I use Rider Waite in my readings all the time, because simply because of the fact my loyalties are still unshaken, I'm devoted to them simply because of the imagery. It gives me the greater imagery, the richer imagery, the more detailed imagery. It allows me to kind of dig deeper into my subconscious and be able to bring out the meanings which lies unearthed and hidden within it, right? So again, going back, so basically describe in as much detail. I have to just hold it right. So basically, again, this person is holding a staff. Then there is a wing on the marker here. So all those things. So just describe it to the word T and even more. Just rack your brains, and for you to be able to describe it, if you have weaker, like I have a weaker eyesight, so I use glasses all the time. Not that I'm using right now because I'm not kind of reading stuff, but then a magnifying glass and a good sunlight, because many a times if you run short of description, every single time you'll find something within the card that you would have missed out on the first notice. Even a reader, someone like me who have been seeing these cards actually for the good 10 plus years, even when I'm holding this cards, and I said that I'm trying to kind of revive my and rekindle my connect and refresh my connect with these cards, and that is why I'm kind of revisiting that these fundamentals. I'm even surprised the way I am naming the cards, the way the name of these cards sound in my ear, the kind of emotions that they kind of spur in me and still in me, right? So does it make sense? So the first thing is that we have done the naming of the card. The other is the description of the card. What you see in the card. So first you describe is that I see this, this, this. So there is this person who is sitting on this chariot looking thing, and with two phoenixes in front, and with this castle in the backdrop, as if he is moving away from the city that is already conquered. Now see, as if he is moving away from the city is already conquered is not something which is there in the card. So this comes to the subjective description. The objective description is to do with what you are seeing in the card. So there are two aspects to it. We will cover it as we go along in the next set of cards. So first thing is that you describe the card as you see it, and the second is that you describe the card as if imagining yourself as a person in the card. So you say that I am this person who is driving this chariot which has two phoenixes. I've had a long day, and I'm leaving the city behind me to be able to move onward and forward, like that. So this is how it works. So first you describe in general, and then you describe as a first person. Likewise, you name the card, this is the chariot, and then you say, I am the chariot. So it works on two levels. Does it make sense? Okay. Now, quickly, now the second part. Now, if you've understood this much, I would rather not, you would rather not have me give you a tarot insight or a forecast for these water signs, because you'd be able to read the card for yourself. Because the tarot here, the chariot is something about a go getter kind of an energy. So, when I say a go getter, love and relationship, when the chariot comes in, it kind of tells you that okay, fair enough, you are moving full forward, full force, full momentum, but it helps for you to realign yourself in terms of thinking that whether you are holding on to each other as some sort of a prized trophy or a possession, because the chariot in itself is devoid of emotion. It's a lackluster card. It is not a traditionally romantic card, right? So you may be going the distance even in terms of career and all. Of course, it's a very nice imagery to come forward, and even in terms of in terms of spirituality also, this is not something to do with, you do with your subconscious, because you're so very focused. Again, when you describe the card, all these things will automatically come to you. So this is a card which is meaning well in terms of for your own personal pursuits. Now it is a very I me myself kind of a card. कभी कभी जो narcissistic sentiments होते हैं ना, वो इसमें आते हैं, meaning to say कि someone who's passionately, obsessively in love with the oneself, which is a nice thing uh, to begin with. But then it is not something which is kind of takes you far when it comes to building collaborations and partnerships, right? Because then it becomes a very ugly if you do too much of it, then it becomes sort of, it tends to flip on its head, and it becomes about power play, ego, authoritarianism, yeah, stuff like that, right? So it is control issues aa jate hain isme, right? So when you are drawing a chariot, for all my water signs in the backdrop of the full moon, it is an advice, because that is how my tarot forecast is for all of you guys out there. It is more of an advice than a predictive and a fortune telling reading. It is for you to have faith and belief in your own abilities, because that is of course one of the most important aspect of it, because it is a card of willpower, grit, determination, zeal, enthusiasm, passion. Everything is fine, but then so you are highlighting a lot of taurine energy. The full moon in Taurus and the Jupiter in the Cancer is something which is very, which is in fact, yes, so the chariot, my bad, now I recollect. So this is the tarot archetype for the Cancer, the chariot, right? So again, you can have an in-depth and a greater look if you visit my tarot archetype series as to what tarot archetype chariot stands for. SWOT analysis किया है हर एक कार्ड का, strength, weakness, opportunities and threats. Please go and visit it. I don't want to repeat it because it will take away from the session. And I would like to create more broader grounds and more grounds and other content in here. But the important aspect is that, so from that an aspect, it is important the chariot coming for, which is a tarot archetype for Cancer coming in. So it kind of ties it so beautifully. The sun in Scorpio on one spectrum, the moon, the moon in the Hierophant, the Taurus on the other spectrum, and then the Cancer here. So basically, it is for you, my dear lovely water signs. It is a onward forward momentum for you, but not at the cost of bulldozing other people's emotions, right? Not at the cost of crushing other people's dream, right? It takes two to tango. So it is important for you to be able to, depends upon which side of the spectrum you are. If you're feeling down and out, it is a sign for you to wake up and have faith in your own abilities. And if you are on the other side, that is, if you're too full of yourself, you're too obsessed with your own self, you're in your own fan club, then it is time for you to be able to reach out, and be able to take others along, because then you will be able to uh, you enjoy your fruits of success in much more a meaningful manner, and that would be lasting in nature, right? So this is what the full moon in the Taurus is able to, is guiding you to be able to do that, so that you make best of both the worlds, right? So does it make sense? All right, my dear water signs. All right, so on that note, we move on to the next set of uh, uh, the tarot forecast, and we do it for the, after the water signs, we can do it for the uh, uh, fire signs. All right. So we do it for the Aries, the Sagittarius, and the, just allow me a second. Okay. So we are doing it for the fire sign. Okay. And what a beautiful card that we draw. So again, we go back to the first two, the tips that I have just shared with you. Is that what is it that you do the first time that you draw the card? We are drawing the card. We drew the card Temperance. Huh? The name of the card is Temperance. We drew card number 17 of the major arcana. This is the Temperance card. Oh, I'm so glad I pulled out the Temperance card. Look what a card I have pulled out. It is named Temperance. Happy to meet you, Temperance. This is the card number 14, Temperance, that I pulled out. You understand? Temperance, Temperance. This is a Temperance card, right? This is the card Temperance that I pulled out. What is the card that I pulled out? Temperance. So you name the card. Name the card. This is the card number 14 that I pulled out. Oh my dear, this is the Temperance card that I pulled out. Okay, so this is the Temperance card that we have pulled out for the fire signs. And again, the second step that we go to is that, what do we do is that we describe the card, right? So what do we see? We see here an angelic figure, right? Which is with standing at the brink of a water body, maybe a lake or a pond, with one feet dipped in water, which is on the other feet on the ground. She's holding two chalices or cups in which there is this liquid pouring one from the other. Does not make it does not establish, which one is which, and that is why it looks like a continuous flow of water, right? So you're describing the card. I see of a rising sun, maybe a rising sun or a setting sun. We really do not know. It looks like a rising sun because the rays are quite, quite a lot of rays. I see a rising sun. I see a sun with a lot of rays within the within in between two blue mountains, and then we see a tuft of lovely green grass with yellow daffodil looking flowers on the one side of this angelic figure, and then we see this rough road, which is kind of leading up to the mountain or coming from the mountain to the water body, which is again, maybe symbolizing, the kind of connectivity between the real world and the peaks of the spirituality, right? And this is bearing a white robe with this triangle, which is kind of confined in a square shape, and a sort of a tiara, which has a circular figure, a golden evil eye kind of a structure, and then the halo, the rays which is coming from the sun, and that within the around the female figure, which looks like a feminine figure, even though it can be a male or a female, right? Has also a halo around her head, which is symbolizing her, wisdom, the aura which shines through. Now, see what we do generally, or not I do. We generally, what we do is that we describe it in a bit, which is an objective description, because much of it is that what I've described is that what I've seen, that it is wearing a white robe, it is kind of standing on the brink of a water body. But all at the same time, I've described something which is not there in the card, in which I said that, okay, this may be a rising sun or a setting sun. That is not described. That is something which is, I'm drawing inferences from my own lived experiences, right? I said that there are blue peaks and mountains, and the road which is leading up to, or maybe backward to the spiritual, to the water body. Again, it can be either ways, right? So again, there, when you describe it in a manner which has an objective part of it and a subjective part of it. But when you try and describe it, when you are trying to get to know tarot, is that the second and the most important step, and this is something which we're going to repeat later on also, is that as much detailed a description, as much you see it with your own two eyes, not the sense of imagination that in any which ways will creep in and cloud in. And that is also important, which is the third stage, which is to do with emotions, because emotions are subjective. But when it comes to seeing what we are seeing, you would see it in real world also. Not much of it what we see is also clouded by your perception, even though we may not know it for sure. We will not kind of feel it that it is being clouded, but then it is clouded because of our lived experiences. We are drawing references from all over, from our childhood to life, right? How we have been raised, right? So we know that we assign meaning to objects also by way of the subconscious understanding. But when this, as far as the descriptive part of the tarot is concerned, try and keep it as objective as possible. Again, first you describe the card as it is, as you see it, and then you describe it as you would be in that card, right? Then so you start reading or describing the card with you, that I am the person who's standing as in the temperance card, which is the card number 14. And I am holding two chalices in which there is this water body which is flowing top to bottom, bottom to top. I am standing still because it requires me a certain amount of harmony. So this is the subjective part which is coming to it, huh? Because no one is telling you that this person standing still, but you are able to draw inference that if they have to be still for them to be able to maintain this kind of a posture. Again, you will say that, it's a grim looking figure, but we do not know whether they are grim or they are simply focused or in flow with what the job that they're doing, right? So again, I'll give you very small, brief nuggets of how it would look like if you go back and practice this, and I'm sure you will be amazed and wonderment as to kind of new meanings and messages that are coming out to you from each of these cards, because they did to me, and I'm sure they would did to you also. So now coming to the tarot forecast for the fire signs, uh, is we draw the card temperance, and the temperance, as if you had described the card, if you have named the card, if you have described the card, you would need, this is a picture of harmony, tranquility and stillness. So the temperance, somewhere it suggests, see, this is not the kind of imagery. Now again, when you have described the card, how beautifully you will be able to understand, this is about movement, huh? This is not about stillness, right? This is about go-getter energy. Automatically, if you know nothing about tarot, you would know this is about stillness. This is about standing straight, stop, and in not it in deep, एक तरीके से ना deep meditative state. This has got nothing to do with meditative state. You understand? This is to do with focus, right? This also has to do with focus, but this is more of a focus of a the taurine energy, the hierophant that we read for, and this is more of a focus of uh, the Scorpio energy, the moon that we read for. So you understand that how all these words are coming together now. So for this temperance, for my fire signs, it is important for you to be able to find a middle path, which is ko bolte na, the path of the Buddha, which is the path of the moderation. And the path of the moderation is not about beach ka path. The path of the moderation is little bit of this and a little bit of that, so that you are able to maintain equanimity. Equanimity, what does equanimity means is that you're able to maintain that calm and poise and harmonize the various aspects of your life to be able to create a beautiful synergy in which the sum total of all the aspects of your life are far more greater than the individual parts. We understand this bit? What is synergy? Synergy is like 2 plus 2 is not equal to 4. 2 plus 2 becomes 5 in nature, right? So that is the kind of advices which are coming across for the fire signs, that you are able to bring in a sense of synergy when it comes to this month's tarot forecast. So in love and relationship, no amount of bickering and bitching and fighting. Try and put yourself in the other person's shoes and see their viewpoint, be it any aspect of your life, love life, work, relationship, career, whatever. Try not to be too opinionated. In today's days and time, everyone is running from pillar to post to be heard. No one is willing to listen, right? So it's time for you to listen not only to the other person, but be able to listen to your own inner voice. And what better day, time, and opportunity but the full moon to be able to allow you to be able to do that. And temperance is a beautiful card when it comes to pursuing your spiritual goals, right? Because it allows you to connect with your inner voice and intuition. And what beautiful way but to go back and get yourself a tarot deck and begin to make use of these two tricks and tips. It's not tricks, of course. It is not tricks, and tricks is not the kind of word that I would use here, because these are, for me as a seeker, they are very sanctified. They are these guidelines by tarot masters and legends are very, very sanctified, because they allow us to dig deep into the cosmic wisdom that goes beyond demographies and durations, right? So this is the temperance card. So do not be opinionated. Try to be the peacemaker. When you try and be the peacemaker, not only will it allow a sense, allow you, to cut the noise within your own life, but allow yourself to be able to do something which helps you connect with your higher self. Many a times what happens is that okay, as long as we have a life sorted, right, we are not concerned about as to what is going on the other person's life in terms of conflict. So I'm not saying that you light up a torch and be revolutionary about the whole idea. No, that is for a different, of course, if it's your calling, you are more than welcome to do that. But at the same time, if there's something in your environment which is not right, then it is all right for you to be able to come from a place of sincerity and allow yourself to be a stabilizing factor and a force, because you may not be directly concerned, but somewhere the environment per se is always a reflection of the inner self. So somewhere if something around you is not going right in terms of lot of friction and energy, frictional energy, then you are called upon to play that role of a peacemaker, to allow room for everyone be heard and a sense of moderation, right? So that individuals be respected as fellow human beings and not just props and tools, means to an end, as reflected in the chariot energy, right? So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so now we come to the next set of element, and that is, let's do it for the airs, which is the Aquarian, the Gemini, and the Libra. Okay, so the next card that we drew, how do we introduce ourselves to the card? All right, I draw a Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles is the card that I've drawn. Oh dear, wonderful. This is Six of Pentacles. I see six pentacles and a number six over here. This is a Six of Pentacles card, right? So this is how you name the card. Six of Pentacles, six of coins. In some in some schools of thought, in some methodology, we also refer pentacles as coins. Again, coins are something, or pentacles is something that denote a earthly, materialistic, to do with money and finances and to do with transactions. Again, going back to the hierophant archetypal energy, right? So this is to do with something which is material, something which is pragmatic, something which is not emotion. It's not to do with the moon kind of a thing. This is more to do with day to day transactions, something which is like a give and take, right? That is the kind of, so we are reading it for the air signs. Now air signs, as I just mentioned, is something to do with, with the hierophant, the full moon in the Taurus, right? And the sun in the Scorpio and the Jupiter in the Cancer. This becomes an extremely important card because it kind of aspects on your interpersonal exchanges, हाँ. अब जो interpersonal exchanges हैं वो आपके love and relationships में भी होते हैं और आपके वर्क एंड करियर में भी होते हैं, हाँ. और बिकॉज द exchanges are not always in cash, they are all also in kind, right? So what happens is that, okay, fine, so before we go on to the forecasting bit of it, you can see the first thing is that we name the card. You have named the card, right? And now you start describing the card. Now this is a beautiful card when it comes to the descriptive bit of it, because see, there are people, जिस भी कार्ड में कोई एक्टिविटी हो रही है उसके लिए आप उसमें उसको, दिस इज अ माइनर अरकाना कार्ड. द माइनर अरकाना आर द वन व्हिच आर मोर डे टू डे. Then the card that we pulled on earlier, which is got the Temperance and the Chariot, which is the major arcana. This is more day to day kind of an energy. रोजमर्रा की जो चीजें होती है ना. So this is about this. So this is about transactions. So when you see a certain activity which is happening in the card, it becomes easy for you to describe. But no fun is that when you're not able to describe it and then to rack your brain. So okay. So coming back to the same thing. So what do you see here? There's this person who's wearing a robe, who's looking like, आप किसी को तभी कुछ दोगे ना जब आपके पास कुछ देने के लिए होगा. सो इन दैट सेंस दिस पर्सन इज लुकिंग लाइक अ रॉयल्टी और अ नोबिलिटी, जिसको बोलते हैं एक खास आदमी है who is giving alms. Alms is like, not that the other people are begging, but they come across as beggar if you're to describe that in a crude language. So they are begging for alms, and there is this person who's standing in the center. Now, if you look closely on these two pictures, there is this person who has this very tiny detail when it comes to description, is that you have this pocket red handkerchief which is protruding from its robe, rugged robe, जो stitched robe होते हैं इसको फटा पुराना कपड़ा. But the red handkerchief here is symbolic of the elite, something which is maybe he's not so much poor as he's faking himself to be in. The other person is the one who is genuinely needy, right? So you have this two, and the person who's giving the arm, who's wearing a red robe and all, so it's giving out his status in the society. He has something to give and he's giving. So he may be giving from a place of charity, or he may be giving from a place of ego also. He may be giving just for the heck of giving. होता है ना लोग philanthropy में indulge करते हैं to have a name and fame, that kind of a thing. So that is also there. So for the person who's faking it, there are two pentacles hanging in air, and the person who's actually needy, there are three pentacles, and the one is the one which hangs right on atop the person who's giving. So what the cards are saying is that even in the realm of give and take, it is very important for one to maintain harmonious और इक्वल फुटिंग ट्रांजैक्शन. अगेन जो एक हाथ से देना और एक हाथ से लेना वाला जो सेंटिमेंट होता है ना, उसमें भी एक तरीके से बराबरी होती है. बिकॉज जैसे हम लोग बोलते हैं ना कि अगर आप किसी को कुछ देते हो तो आपको उसकी दुआएं मिलती हैं, राइट? सो इट्स ऑलवेज अ टू वे ट्रैफिक. It does not mean that there is only one person who's giving and the other person is receiving, because the law of the universe is such that there is always cause and effect. That is to say, whatever you karmas you create, whatever karmic journey that you had in terms of giving, you will get equally back. If you do good deeds, as you sow, so shall you reap. As if you do good deeds, why do people give? People give because they want to express their gratitude to the Lord Almighty that they have had this. And now, but also in that they don't want to give to be able to come on the streets. We know that for good, right? No one wants to give as much. They are only rare examples in that sense. So no one, even when you see these very rich people also, when they give, they want to express their gratitude so that they also keep on having much more of, maybe they don't need much of money, but then they want their name and fame and that celebrity status to go on and continue for posterity, right? So they may not say it aloud, because but then that is the kind of connotation. All right. So we were on the description. So first you describe the card as to what is happening in the card. Please go as deep as possible. Write down right from the color of the coins to one the person. It's they say the person is first choosing to give the person who's actually needy. Maybe they'll come back to the other person, but in due course of time, right? So then you describe anything and everything, even the trees and the houses behind and the kind of patchwork that they have, the robes that they're wearing, everything you describe. First you describe, and then the next, in card like this, the interesting bit is that who is it that you're choosing to become? When you begin to describe it in the person, now who is this person that you're choosing to become? Because once your mind, your subconscious minds allow you to take sides, then a lot of the story in the situation that you are actually in will begin to unfold. So who are we reading for? We are reading for our air signs. So, air signs people, the Aquarians, the Librans, and the Gemini, who are you? Are you the giver or are you the receiver? Are you the one who's actually in need, or are you the one who is coming from a place of greed? Okay, if you are the giver, why are you giving? Are you giving because that is an inner calling, right? Are you giving when it comes to love and relationship? Do you feel that you are giving because you really love the other person, or you're giving because you're afraid to let go of? And if you think that you do not give, then possibly they'll pull the rug off your feet and you'll be left high and dry to fend for yourself, right? So even if you are receiving, why are you receiving? Are you receiving because you feel that you deserve it, or because you feel that you have manipulated or exploited the other person to receive it, right? So it has a beautiful connotation. So you would not need Chandra to read for you. But if you begin to just follow these two steps, name the card, see what kind of, in what manner, what was the sound which is coming out of your mouth, what emotions are is being invoked when you meet this card. When I meet Six of Pentacles and I say, okay, okay, I draw Six of Pentacles, interesting. So is it of interest? Or I say, oh dear, I met Six of Pentacles, wow. So is it disappointing? Is it of dejection? You were expecting something which was more direct in terms of answer. Then you begin to describe the cards per se, and then you describe it in first person, right? So even what I'm trying to convey here is that, by way of my journey, is that even the moment that allow myself to become that one person, it begins to automatically, by default, it allows you to get in touch with your subconscious, and lot of thoughts which were otherwise entangled or detangled will become clearer and clearer to you. So does that make sense? So as I said, that in terms of the tarot forecast for all the air signs, it is important. The advice for you is to maintain that fair give and take, and again be able to as much giving and receiving, and make sure that you're building your partnerships on equal footing. Again, रिश्ते में हो या नौकरी में हो, uh, अगर कोई आप किसी को exploit कर रहे हो, then you have to find a middle ground. And what is the middle ground? We have just read, it is a temperance, right? Too much of anything is bad, right, my dear? This is something that we know. There's no rocket science to it. We all know that too much of anything is bad. So agar, and there are no lunches which are free, right? So even when I'm reading for you, right? So it is not that I have got nothing to do, I have got nothing to do. But by way of this interpersonal exchange, even though I may not see you, I may not hear you, but by way of me sharing these messages, somewhere my understanding is also reinforced and re-ingrained in me. My connect with tarot becomes better and brighter with every single moment and every single word that comes out of my mouth. You understand this? So there is always something which is coming back to me. No one is doing it out of, and no one is being a sacrificial lamb here. So we must respect that, every that sentiment, that sanctity, that bond of everything being tied, this tana bana, this wrap and reft of these interpersonal exchanges and relationships need to be bowed and sanctified and glorified also, if I may say so. If not glorified, at least be respected for with deep reverence and gratitude, right? So I hope that makes sense. Now that brings us to the last segment, which is the, we did it for water, fire, air, and now we come to the earth sign. So the earth signs are the Virgos, the Taurian, and the Capricorn. Okay. So again, this is a very apt card. This is a very apt card for earth signs. And again, for the earth signs with the full moon in the hierophant. So जितने भी हमारे sensory perceptions हैं, हाँ, एक तो aspect होता है इसको values and traditions and belief systems का, you know, with reference to marriage and institutions. जो traditions हैं जो हमें बड़े बूढ़ों ने सिखाया है, वो एक aspect है taurine energy का. दूसरा aspect होता है which is to do with your sensory pleasures. Sensory pleasures में sensory pleasures का मतलब ये to do with your sense organs, to do with which kind of indulgence, you know, that kind of a thing. Uh, do what makes you actually happy in terms of creature comforts, right? And no other and better card, you know. So see again, you know, the first time I pulled out this card, this gives me a very, you know, a smile on my face because the Four of Pentacles is something about which is very much in tandem with the Taurine energy, you know, the full moon in Taurus, which is going to shed light on these aspects, you know, everything about, and of course, the year coming to an end, so that party mode being on, ki New Year's Eve kahan manayenge, kahan jayenge, you know, that getaway and breakaway that you everyone looks at, kya khayenge, kya piyenge, you know, that kind of thing. So then sense of indulgence, overindulgence, if I may say so, right? So again, what we do first is that Four of Pentacles. I pulled out a Four of Pentacles. Okay, so this is the Four of Pentacles. It is the number four, and there are four pentacles here. So this is the Four of Pentacles. This is a minor arcana card. This is the Four of Pentacles card, right? So we name the card. We make it our own. We keep listening. So it's again, you know, one may sound dud and dumb by saying the card name again and again, but do that, right? Do that. Trust you me. When you name the card, you know the kind and just make note of it. Always keep a journal, a diary. um I'm a bit lazy now. I've stopped using a journal because of paucity of time. But sometimes I write, sometimes I don't. But always I make a note. Maybe in my phone, I kind of have a note, I have a folder. As I learn, as I go along reading stuff, I keep on making these notes as a voice notes, you know. So I'm not writing as much as I would like to do. But then I'm always making notes, right? So first you name the card. The second is what? The description. Now we start describing the card. So what is it that we see the card? We see that there are four pentacles. There is this person who's sitting on a very uncomfortable kind of a chair. Now, again, the uncomfortable kind of a chair is a subjective description. We are not able to see how comfortable or uncomfortable they are. हाँ, कार्ड में से तो आवाज नहीं आ रही ना कि अनकंफर्टेबल है, बट हमें लग रहा है कि स्टोन स्लैब पे बैठा है बंदा यार. हाँ, और एक दो पेंटिकल्स पाँव के नीचे हैं, फेविकोल की तरह से चिपक गया है, और एक उसके क्राउन चक्र पे और एक उसके हार्ट चक्र पे. द एनर्जी जो होता है ना, जो और जो हमारे ऑराज होते हैं, जो चक्रास होते हैं, जो हमारे एनर्जी चक्रास होते हैं, इट्स ब्लॉक. द क्राउन चक्रा इज ब्लॉक, इवन द थर्ड आई चक्रा इज सॉर्ट ऑफ ब्लॉक. द फीट, which is considered to be a very very important areas for us, for us to be able to ground, you know, they are also locked. So everything, your energy source is totally is locked because he thinks that there is in a space where is जो उसका सेफ्टी जोन बन गया है, कंफर्ट जोन है. सो वी डिस्क्राइब द कार्ड. सो वी डिस्क्राइब द कार्ड. देयर इज अ पर्सन हु सिटिंग इन दिस ऑरेंज क्लोक, sorry, the red cloak with green borders, and with four pentacles, one sticking to its head, one sticking to its chest, two beneath the feet, with a well laid out city behind it, behind its back. It's a city that they may have built. Again, this is a subjective description. We do not know about it, right? But when I'm describing it, by automatically, by default, it is coming in my description, right? So there are two parts in the description that you would invariably do. Is one is the objective description and the other one is the subjective description, right? So you go on describing it, and then you switch places. You know what you do is that you start describing it in the first tense, that I am sitting here on this bench. Again, you know, you can say all the emotions that are coming through your mind, describe in as much detail as as it is. I'm wearing this robe, you know, which is a silk robe, I believe, you know, and this, I have these coins, which is a symbol of the kind of wealth that I've accumulated, the securities that I've accumulated, the comforts that I've accumulated, which I'm just kind of trying to protect them, stick to them, hold on to them with full force, life, and vigor. And somewhere, I'm just kind of, I'm secure in my place, but at the same time, maybe I'm missing the people who are having party behind my back, because I'm not allowing myself to get up and get going, right? So the moment you start describing this card, the automatically by default you would be able to begin to read the card. Now, coming to how you would read the card. Now, what is the tarot messages, which are forecast messages, which are coming to you? This, which what is coming to you when you, by way of description, now you get a hang of it, you would know is that the Four of Pentacles is about possessions. The Four of Pentacles about is obsessive compulsion towards possessing something or someone. It is about a sense of course, it is a sense of stability and security, and grounding forces are of course there. You have come to a place wherein you have really worked hard, and you have all these laurels. The kind of garments that this person is wearing, the kind of structures that they have built behind them, is all symbolic of a journey well made, right? You have come a distance, right? It is not something that is you come to you by way of windfalls. Okay, but the fact of the matter is that because you had to really work hard for this, now you've come to a stage when you can actually, it's not that कि पूरा ही उसको उड़ा दो, not that kind. You don't have to go all guns blazing, but at the same time you must also allow to let go of that control, because if you're a position freak, if you're a control freak, then you would not be able to enjoy the fruits of labor, which is actually happening with this one person out here. So if you are a earth sign, and in this full moon within the story is, because those energies are going to be amplified with you, your intuition telling you, look, there is I must go all out, because for the Taurian sides it may be about on the other side, because again, I have mentioned it earlier also, when you draw a tarot card, it is not just one meaning, there are zillions of meaning. So for Taurian people, for earth people, they would read differently when I draw Four of Pentacles, and for the water people they would read differently, for the earth it would read differently, and for the air it would read differently. So because we are reading for the earth people, what the Four of Pentacle here is saying is let go and let lose. थोड़ा कंट्रोल छोड़ दो. हाँ, हर चीज को आप कंट्रोल करके रखोगे कि कोई कैसे क्या बिहेव करे या कैसे हो, तो जब आप जो आपने एक्यूमुलेट किया उसको एंजॉय करोगे ना, थोड़ा डेलीगेट भी करो. थोड़ा लोगों पे फेथ रखो, थोड़ा डेलीगेट भी करो, so that you are also able to have a breather, because you deserve it, right? So this in love and relationship also, again, it is also about that maybe you are somewhere projecting your past beliefs, hurts, or emotions onto something which is not which is actually working for you. Now, many a times what happens is that we get into a relationship, and because we've had a bad relationships earlier on, we tend to kind of project those fears and insecurities and anxieties on the existing relationship, right? This is when the Four of Pentacles shows up, right? So you're holding on to something which is so tight that it barely leaves any breathing room and space, and that is why they kill and sabotage loving relationships. Again, in work and career also, it is about that you have accumulated a lot of wealth, if I may say so, material comforts, creature comforts, but now it is also time for you to थोड़ी छुट्टी लो, थोड़ा ब्रेक लो, थोड़ा घूमो फिरो, एंजॉय करो, spend time with your family and loved ones, because the life per se is over and beyond your material comforts, which is important in aspect. And now that you've built that, it is important for you to turn, to shift focus, change gears, and with the year coming to an end, to be able to let your hair down and make best of both the worlds, right? So this is with spirituality. You are nowhere close to the spiritual aspect of it, So it is also an important reminder that the dash of spirituality which is thrown in there, maybe not on a regular basis, but of course towards the full moon and the new moon, the whatever you have will have another touch of glory and sheen to it, that you will be able to enjoy in all its splendor, right? So here we are with Four of Pentacles energy drawn for the earth sign, right? So with that, we come to an end of this forecast. What I'm going to do, as always, is that I will drop you post chat notes and a sort of synopsis of what we have done, and I'll make shorter versions of it, so that you are more up to date, because many a times we tend to skip segments. But again, with folded hands, I request you to watch these. Um, series that I've created. If you've not subscribed, please do subscribe. I know I have not been able to go live for an AMA or reading insights, which I am working on. I am, because this is a one man army. When you see me, I am the only one who is behind the camera, in front of the camera, and all over. And that is why anything and everything that I create in terms of the content creation is my baby. Whatever I write, say, share is my the source of inspiration is maybe elsewhere, but what I do is my own content creation. So what, again, what you see is what you get, and this is my honest and earnest tribute to the realm of tarot, in doing my little bit um, towards kind of making sure that you as a fellow seeker also is able to kind of gather some trivias that will allow you and assist your journey. And before I close, and get you to that little ritual that you may make use of to honor the Hierophant and the moon that we pulled out right in the beginning. Just one parting note is that of lately I've been joining hands with collaborators towards engaging in podcasts, right? And I know much of these tutorials as I do is much of it is in English, and I hope you are able to make use of those features on YouTube and go and change language in any other thing, in Hindi or any other language. But yes, the podcasts that I'm doing are mostly bilingual. And because my endeavor again is to reach as many people as possible. And if you have any question or if you have any suggestions that you would like to throw at me in terms of me doing a podcast around them, I'll be more than delighted and honored, to be able to take that topic and facilitate and ease not only your journey, but kind of whip away or do away and allow those myths and misconceptions around tarot as tools to kind of disappear, because that is something that keeps you away from making use of these wonderful tools and insights, which my honest and earnest wish and prayer is that should become a part of your day-to-day lives, right? uh, Okay, so on that note, to honor the Hierophant, because again, the moon is more to do with your intuition, which in any which ways, when you are tapping into these insights, or allowing yourselves that kind of this practice and time to connect deeply will come across. But to honor the Hierophant, if you have a tarot deck, I would suggest that towards the full moon tomorrow, as well as for the entire month, until of course until of course, let's say the next full moon forecast, you meditate. My bad, I have pulled out the chariot instead of the Hierophant. This is the Hierophant. My apologies to you. So this is the Hierophant that I recommend you to meditate on. If you want me to give you a meditative guide in a capsule around Hierophant, I would be able to do that. But for now, what you can do is that, again, using the two tips that I've just shared with you, naming the card, the Hierophant, and describing the card. Again, it is very interesting. Like you see the Six of Pentacles, the one who is the giver, and then the other two, they are the receivers. Now, in the Hierophant, one is the teacher, right? And the other two are the seekers, the students. So, who is it that you are, right? Ask these questions to your own self. Which one are you? From these two, which one are you? What differences are the ones that you see here between these two disciples? Why do you think you are the teacher? What is it of the life essence and wisdom that you wish to share with your others? Are you actually sharing it, or you're keeping it to your own self? What is this key symbolic of? All these questions you jot down and you write down, and this becomes a part of your ritual itself. The ritual is not something that you really have to wear your saffron colored chonga and sit down and light a agarbatti or diya. If you could do that, please do that, because that helps you ground. But even if you're not able to do that, then put some nice meditative music at the background, or without the music, just allow yourself to make use of any of these tools. Why I'm saying tarot? Because tarot is something that that is my life revolves around. So this is something, and if you are a tarot enthusiast and a seeker like I am, you would be able to not only deepen your own understanding and self-awareness, but you'd come to know so much about more about the card instead of just theoretical understanding कि टैरो हायरोफेंट ड्रॉ किया तो यस है कि नो है, लव एंड रिलेशनशिप में क्या मीन करेगा, करियर में क्या मीन करेगा. यू बी एबल टू गो ओवर एंड बियॉन्ड the traditional meanings, and that is always the guide and advice by tarot masters, to be able to unearth and unlayer those those wisdom which has been there, which is inherent in us from the time immemorial, right? Because we are the part of that cosmos and no other. Okay, so this is my honest recommendation for you, to be able to sit and meditate with the Hierophant. And yes, as a closing ritual, what you can do is that you can go back to my burn and release ritual. When you are meditating on these two aspects, what you can do to honor the taurine energy in the full moon, what you can do is that you can write down five uh, pointers, 5 points, aspects of your life which you are really really grateful for in terms of the grounding aspects. Grounding aspects का मतलब क्या है कि आपका जो फिजिकल एस्पेक्ट्स हैं, आपकी नौकरी हो गई, आपका घर दुकान मकान हो गया, आपका बैंक बैलेंस हो गया, आपके जो चीजें, जो लग्जरीज हैं, जो क्रीचर कंफर्ट्स हैं आपकी लाइफ में, जो वैल्यूज हैं, सिस्टम्स हैं, बिलीफ्स हैं, आपका रिलीजन हो गया जो आपको आपके माँ बाप से मिला है, जो कि आपकी पहचान का एक हिस्सा है, राइट? So for all those 5 elements, you can write down. Again, the ritual practice has to begin with something very simplistic as like clearing your space, burning an incense, chant, lighting a diya, pure ghee diya, or if you don't have, lighting a lamp, have a white sheet paper, have a blue or a green pen. Not a black pen is not recommended, again, to do with the auras and the energies. But never mind, just write. Take a goddamn pencil if you don't have anything, but just write. Have a voice note thing on. Just just as long as you are able to get into the rhythm of it, then be able to write 5 pointers that you value in order to honor the taurine energy. And the five things, because it is about the full moon, it is about grounding and illumination as much as about release and cleansing, right? So basically, with regards to, in order to honor the moon energy, which is the tarot archetypal for the Scorpio, which is the sun sign for the sun sign, because the sun is the zodiac of Scorpio, is that you be able to really write, or the five illusions, misconceptions, self doubts, secrets, I would say so, which is weighing heavy on your heart. Write those things. So what we do is that after you have done that, you sit with that, you do your own pranayam or meditative chant or Om Namah Shivaya or whatever invocation come. You can do your Hanuman Chalisa run for 7 minutes or whatever, 7 times or 21 times, whatever comes easy and naturally. And then what you do with that piece of paper is, herein you have to write it with a piece of paper. Sorry, my bad. You can't do a voice note because the next step is something that would need something physical to do that. What for the you keep, what you do is that you dissolve the paper, which is to do with the physical aspects of it, to honor the tarot archetypal energy of the Hierophant for the Taurus, जो grounding के लिए जो physical aspects वाले जो चीजें हैं, that you dissolve in that bowl of water that you may have kept aside. And with that, you dissolve that water in that, you let it lie overnight, because it's a full moon night. You put it outside in the water and you let it dissolve, and the next day you can put it back to the ground. So that is to do the grounding energy. तो एक तरीके से आप सीड बो रहे हो कि जो चीजें आपके आपकी जिंदगी में जो आपको एक स्टेबलाइज करती है, एक फाउंडेशन देती है, एक नींव देती है, एक तरह से आप वापस उसको जमीन में डाल रहे हो ताकि वो सीड्स और ग्रो करें और फ्लरिश करें और रिजुविनेट हो एंड refresh you, right? So it becomes a resource of energy for you. Then, for the ones that you wish to release, what you do is that with that diya in front of you, what you can do is that you can hold this piece of paper, and with a deep and an earnest wish and prayer within your own heart, with that kind of intent and intuition that now I'm releasing it. So, whatever has been weighing on my aura and energies, which has not been, which has been taking the sheen away from this, right? क्योंकि क्या होता है ना, आपकी इंट्यूशंस, आपकी जो एनर्जीज होती हैं, जो आपके मिसकंसेप्शंस या डाउट्स होते हैं आपको खुद को लेके, आपके सराउंडिंग्स को लेके, जो भ्रांतियां होती है लोगों को लेके, वो आपको पुल डाउन करती हैं। तो ये जो है, ये फिजिकल फॉर्म है, ये जो है वो इंट्यूटिव फॉर्म है, ये एब्स ये प्रैक्टिकल है, ये एब्स्ट्रैक्ट है, राइट? तो हम इन दोनों के बीच का एक कड़ी जोड़ेंगे विद दिस फुल मून। एंड दिस व्हाट यू डू इज दैट यू बर्न इट, as I have already kind of guided you in the burn and release ritual. I'll add this video link to this so that you can come and revisit it. But for now, once you do this, once you burn and release the one which is to do with illusions, and once you're able to go back and ground the one which is to do with the manifestation aspect of it, you will see that with the year closing, you will not only be able to kind of move, uh, you know, uh, have a lighter existence of sorts, but at the same time a more joyful existence of sorts, not the kind that you only dream and desire, but the one that you truly, truly deserve, you know. So, with that thought and prayer, my dear, um, I had crystals and everything for you also, but then that is for another day. You can always go and watch out by check out my videos with folded hands. Whosoever has had the tenacity, the patience, and the perseverance to stay with me for the entire length, hats off to you and thank you so much. And those who have not been here but would be watching me on a rerun, I I tell you with all my heart that my deepest, sincerest of gratitude for being, being on this journey with me as a shared path and as a shared journey. And I thank you and I bow down in reverence to each one of you. Thank you so much. I will see you with the next monthly forecast as far as the live video is concerned. And otherwise, you have my YouTube shorts and content and anything and everything coming from the heart. But it would really make me feel truly blessed and delighted to hear more of you, so that I know for sure that whatever I am doing is actually, of course, it's indeed going from the heart, but also reaching the hearts that it was meant to. So, on that note, thank you so much. Love and light, Chandra. Mwah. Thank you so much. Thank you all. God bless. Full moon blessings to each one of you. Bye. Ciao.